Today, Jennifer and I have the lovely, amazing Kal-El Bogdanove. Hi, Kal-El.
Hello.
So happy you're here, Kal-El.
Kal-El is
I'm happy to be here.
absolutely amazing, having directed popular franchises such as Helldivers, for Horizon Forbidden West, Skyrim, Wreck-It Ralph, and I mean that's just to name a few. I am so excited because we've had a few members curious about the whole role of being a voice director, so I would love to hop in with a few questions. So some of the questions that we do have is about the role of a voice director. So what do you see as some of the main responsibilities of a voice director during recorded sessions?
So I don't draw a lot of distinction between different kinds of directing and different kinds of acting.
Mm.
I think the skills are fundamentally the same thing. All acting is using childlike imaginative play to accomplish an adult storytelling intention.
Mm.
And in every format, whether you're on stage or on set or in black box theater or a radio play or you're doing game VO, you're always going to be using the theater of the mind to fill in certain elements when you're acting. If you're on a green screen on a Marvel movie, you're going to be picturing an alien world back there. If you're on stage doing the importance of being earnest, you're going to be building a fourth wall where the audience is. Always something up here. The only real difference with VO is specifically is that there's just more going on in the theater of the mind. It's the same capacity. We just crank the dial up on it. So frequently when you're doing that kind of work, the actor is going to be filling in a lot of elements: props, costumes, the setting, the physicality of what's going on with their body, and most importantly, chiefly the eye lines of the other characters, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of communication happens in the eyes, right? Like I don't know, if the line was something like, "I can't stand that guy. He's such a jerk." Like if I said that to you in life, and I was talking about a guy as your best friend, I'd go, "I can't stand that guy," and you might get hostile or something. You'd have a reaction, right? And then I would change my approach based on registering that. "Oh, I can't stand that guy. He's such a jerk." Versus if I was like, "I can't stand that guy," and you were like, "I know, right? What a
Yeah.
drip," with your face, I would go, "I can't stand that guy. He's such a jerk," right? Or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So that stuff happens organically when you have an actual physical scene partner in the room. In VO, we have to build it in the theater of the mind the way we would fill in the green screen. So the role of a director in the dramatic arts, broadly speaking, is always to kind of facilitate whatever needs to happen for everybody else to have their best work occur. Not just the actors, but also frequently your crew, even your producer, whoever it is. But first and foremost, for a director, the actors, right? So you determine like what that person or people you're working with needs to have their best work happen, and you try to supply that. Frequently, when we're working in the booth, what I'm going to be doing most is helping to set the scene in the theater of the mind, so that then the acting training can just kick in and you can just act, right? So I'll help you dress that set, into filling in details about, not only where you're coming from and where you're going to, but where are we? What is it like physically? Who are you talking to? What's your relationship to them? And then when I want to adjust the performance, frequently I'll just change what the other guy's doing, right? So you give a performance, and I say like, what if we did one where when you hit this part where you're talking about what a jerk this guy is, the person you're talking to knits their eyebrows and crosses their arms and gets hostile, and then that'll change what we're doing because we're changing what's happening in the theater of the mind. So that is my foremost responsibility, is to communicate to the performer the information they need to have a truthful performance, a grounded performance where they can just really drop into the theater of the mind, see the things that are there, and react to them. It's an old clam. Acting is reacting, but it's true.
It's true.
It's true. And so I just try to give you stuff to react to. Sorry, I know it's like a long story
No,
long.
it's good.
No, it's good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you balance? So Also, I imagine being a voice director, you're kind of like almost the lore keeper of like, let's say you're directing me through a session and you may know in the back of your head that this person's going to betray me, but how do you balance kind of giving people what they need while also having all this information of like the bigger picture in your head?
How do I do it? It's a little bit like saying to somebody
Magic.
like, "How do you dive off a high board?" It's like, well, I take 3 little steps and I spring. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I just sort of do. I have a really good language skills and a good brain for keeping track of story details and behavior, personal behavior. Not a great mind for, say, remembering a phone number. If it's more than 3 numbers long, I have to write it down. Right? We each have our unique gifts, and I don't know. I do a lot of prep. I mean, I think that for any kind of direction, because my training is in film and well, as an actor in theater, and then like what I studied and what I work in when I'm not doing this is film and television. So my approach is the same as it would be for that stuff, which is to say I do a lot of prep work on the script. I try to make sure I know in great granular detail the answers to any question that might come up, or at the very least, I know who on the developer team or who amongst the screenwriters or narrative designers, whoever's involved, to ask if there's something that I don't know. So if you're going to direct anything, prepare. Prepare. And what you do to prepare is going to vary a little bit by format. If you're making a film, you're going to be making a lot of shot lists and camera charts in addition to the sort of dramatic arts directorial work you do with the actors of like figuring out character objectives and emotional architecture and where adjustments happen. But like one thing I'll say is that broadly speaking, the arts, particularly performing arts, are characterized as being this sort of esoteric gift that you have. And people do have gifts. That's absolutely true. But like the number one thing I cannot emphasize enough to people getting involved in this kind of work is like, it is a trade, right? So in the same way that you can learn to like grout tile and thereafter you know how to do that as a trade, you can learn how to break down a script. You can learn hard skills, not soft skills, like hard skills for how to help actors guide their performance. And you can do that by reading books and by practicing. If you're going to start from scratch with no like institutional training, you're going to pick up a book and start learning about this, I would recommend reading Directing Actors by Judith Weston, which is probably as close to my technique, like my approach, as you can get in a single book. Anything that you read on the subject is going to be useful, but like I would try to favor training that gives you like a literal process. Like I can take steps like this and this and this, and I will know more than I did when I sat down. There are other things that are a little more squishy, like embodiment and that kind of thing. That like those are real, but I think like they're useful once you have a concrete understanding of fundamentals, and fundamentals is tradecraft. Just like you learn, like I know how to rebuild a transmission, like I know how to break a scene on the page, making notes. So yes, lots of preparation is the short answer.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot to prep. I feel like that would be very overwhelming for me.
Yeah, so if you are a director of, particularly if you're working in interactive and you have a busy schedule, one of the things you should be aware of is you're going to be getting up early to go to the PCAP stage or to the recording studio. You're going to work 9 to 6. Then you're going to drive home in whatever traffic there is, and then you're often going to spend another hour, between 1 and 4 hours, prepping the scripts tomorrow. So it helps to be really organized and really disciplined. It helps to like have a plan for how to get regular exercise and meals, which is tricky sometimes when you work hours like that, because like your job, the only part of your job your clients and the actors see is the part where you're there in the studio. but like there is a whole lot of sort of unpaid labor on the back end, which is true for actors as well, right? Actors
Yeah.
prepare, an
what we
actor
do.
prepares, right?
Right.
So same for directors. You do a lot of preparatory work. And look, as you go, you get better at like, okay, I'm going to read the whole thing. I'm going to make a bunch of notes. I'm going to do that over a weekend, and then the night before, I may just do a little refresher, 15-minute graze, and that way I can have a life. But but yeah, a lot of prep work.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that leads me to another question. So, what are some other skills, if any more? Because you mentioned the ability to be organized and to, especially for your own health, like plan meal prep and stuff like that. What are some qualities or traits that you think would be good to have that most people don't think of that would help you with being a voice director?
That most people don't think of. Okay, I'm going to start with one that I feel like should be obvious, but that people seem to forget about, which is that you have to have a heart that is sensitive to the music of the human condition. Like you have to really be good at experiencing the 50th take with a fresh, open heart, the way the audience is going to experience it,
Yeah.
as much as the first one. Because the only way you can make creative call, because like, look, there's no right way. There's no like golden right perfect way to do any creative task.
Yeah.
There's an infinitude of variations. And as a director, often you're going to be making a lot of judgment calls about which one, like we'll keep this one, we'll cut this one to that one. Well, or even before any of the keepers, just like, hey, maybe it'll be fruitful if we played this scene as if you have a big secret you're trying to hide, or whatever, right? You're making a lot of judgment calls that are qualitative, not quantitative. And so in order to, it's just like if you were picking melons, you have to have like good sniffing and squeezy fingers. Your heart has to be able to do that. You have to be able to like experience the melons of emotion.
Yeah.
Fingers
as you go. So like that, I think is the number one thing. Is just be sensitive to the human condition. Be in touch with your own emotional landscape. Be aware that when you handle feelings all day, those of others and those of imaginary characters, that has an impact on you that you should probably try to correct for with relaxation, exercise, therapy, psychopharmaceuticals, whatever floats your boat.
Dog walking, whatever.
But I think that is the most important skill. Two, right? You have to be a great communicator.
Yeah.
And all that entails, especially patience. And you have to be open to the music of the heart. That is literally your job, is to feel things the way the audience would feel them, so that you can decide which of several very good approaches is going to be the most effective.
That's, there's something I just want to bring this up because I've had the joy of working with you, and there's a specific talent that I think people might not think of right away that's really important to me as a performer for a good voice director, which is the ability to read and to sense when what you're saying has landed. Because there's a magic spark that happens when you're sharing context with me or with an actor in the booth. I'll talk about my experience. When a director's sharing context with me and they're channeling the whole effort of the collective team, there's a moment when it sparks something, and to be not attached to getting everything out like a dissertation, but to go, let's do this, let's just catch this right now. To catch that moment is just magic. And to trust that if the rest of what you were going to say would have changed it, you can go back and do another one. But don't miss the magic. It's listening in your body and your ears to that actor for the you just get that magic. Does that makes any sense?
100% it makes sense to me. This might not be indicated by my incredibly long-winded answers so far, but like one of the most important skills is to be able to be succinct and clear in your redirect. When I started, I've been doing this almost 20 years in video games and interactive, and I've been working on stage and on camera and so forth since I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
And in the early days of working in games, we worked at a much faster pace because like this discipline was significantly less valued in previous generations of game developer. And so, like, I learned to work at the blistering pace of like 100 lines an hour.
Yep.
And if you're going to work like that, you learn really quickly that you do not get to gas on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't often get to communicate deep details about the story. You know, all that George R. R. Martin shit of like what color, sorry, can I curse on here?
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
fine.
Of like, you know, what color the banners are for each house. That you don't have time for any of that.
Yeah.
You have to be like, this is like someone rear-ended you and you're climbing out of the car pissed off. Go.
Yeah.
Right?
Love that.
Like, you might be doing Skyrim. There are no cars. There is no, I mean, I guess you could have a cart accident, but like that's not part of that, but emotionally it's like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so you learn to be epigrammatic, you learn to be succinct, and you learn to try a lot of different stuff because what works for each individual actor is very different.
Yeah.
Like, there are commonalities. I have tools that I reach for where I'm like, well, okay, that didn't work. That you know, this sort of substitution didn't work, so I'm going to try a physical cue. Oh, this physical cue didn't work, so I'm going to try an objective. Like, there's a myriad of tools that are common to use, but it's about sort of figuring out really quickly. Pretty often it's actors you've never worked with before. Brand new actor in the booth, first day on a project, new character, you got to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So in the early minutes of that session, you're often kind of probing using different techniques until you figure out something that really clicks for that actor. You know, and when in doubt, I try to go to stuff that's in the body. You know, it's all well and good to go like, can you give me one where you know the product you're selling is refined and you think it's really elegant and beautiful? Or I can go like, can you give me a read that's like...
Yes, 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 yes.
Right?
Yes.
And people know what that... You know,
But it's like, you know.
So, even more simple than that is just like, hey, when we get here, get around in front of this guy. He's going to try to avoid your eye line. Get around in front of him and meet his eye. Now, you're not doing that physically in the booth. You're standing like this in front of a microphone. But we're doing it up here in the theater of the mind. Right? So, short, you know, snappy physical cues that the body really understands are often a great way in. But yes, learning to be succinct is a skill. And
As
to
an
recognize when somebody's got it and when they don't. And there's one more. This is the hardest thing for new directors, particularly for those, weirdly, in a way, the more talented you are with your own creative visualization, the harder this can be. Learning the difference between, I got a take that isn't the take I expected in my mind's eye, and I know that if we keep pushing, we can get to something stronger. Learning the difference between that and that was a take that was unlike what I expected, but it is as effective or better, and I need to release my preconception.
Yes.
Directors who talk just so like to show that they're there, who put their oar in just because they feel like they have to be acknowledged, that stuff drives me crazy. It's hard to avoid when you're starting out, but like knowing when to go, great, no notes, next,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
It's you know, and sometimes really good actors have a hard time becoming really good directors because sometimes a really good actor will hear their own internal music. They'll see their own true north star so strongly, because that's what they do, that they won't be able to be open to somebody else's equally valid but very different approach. And that's where you get people doing line reads and results directing, which is a recipe for stiff, wooden material and unhappy directors.
We're here to make your dreams come true, however it happens. Oh my gosh.
This is a good question in the chat. You just mentioned physicality as the director. For remote sessions, how often do you as the director keep your camera on?
Always, unless I'm working on IPDTL, which makes it very hard to have your camera on. Look, I would always rather work in person. It is worlds better when we're both in the same location because of eye contact. Because here's the thing about remote. Even when we're like this, cameras on,
Right.
we can't lock eyes. right? I have to be staring into the lens for
Yeah.
me to look like I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
And frequently, I do a lot of counter reading. If there's dialogue, I'll do a lot of counter reading, or what they call dish reading with the actor, where I'm giving some kind of performance for the other person in the scene. It's not necessarily great, but a little something is better than nothing, right? And so I can guide the actor by, instead of going like, this is where he looks away, don't meet your eye, I can just do that.
Yeah.
When we're in person, looking at each other through the glass in the studio, that happens organically.
Yeah.
When we're remote, I will frequently have to be like, hey, can you either you can't see me at all, or we're on IPDTL, in which case I have to be like, give me a butter spreading gesture on this line, right? Rather than like in person, I might be like, I think you want to reassure him,
Yeah. I love that.
right?
Love that.
That's so interesting.
So
I never really thought of that.
the more in person we are, the better for me, and I think for the work.
Yeah, that's why he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of my sessions are remote, and I'm just thinking back. I was like, when you were talking about, I was thinking back to my previous sessions. I'm like, yeah, no, I feel like a lot of remote sessions that I've had, the cameras were off, but I think like there's sometimes I would get a hit where it'd be like they'd be trying to convey something, and I'm like, this I feel like looking and locking eyes, like that's something that's so simple that I hadn't even thought of. Like, no, that would make it worlds better. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me talk right to the young actors who are starting out now with this. It is a wonderful thing that modern technology offers us the ability to work remote. COVID is largely responsible for that, because it used to be if you wanted to do this, you would have to use, oh my gosh, what's the pre-source connect?
Oh.
What was that called?
The Telus Zephyr?
Yeah. You never use a highly specialized piece of equipment.
Now it's a heavy expensive
Yeah.
paperweight. Yeah.
Right. So, because of COVID, studios got really good at working remote, which is good in some ways. First of all, most importantly, it allows access to this industry for people who, for whatever reason, would not necessarily be able to go into the studio. People with disabilities, remote physical locations. We're more flexible, right? And that's good. Access for people who would otherwise be marginalized is good. That said, if you have the capacity to come in for your session, if you live near the studio, if you can be there, get in there. Don't do this job in your pajamas if you can help it.
Yeah.
And the work will be better, I guarantee it. And then also, you will build relationships. When I have people in classes or working remote, I hardly ever remember them when I meet them in person, because like I see hundreds of actors a week, right? But people who come into the studio, on our 5-minute breaks, we're chit-chatting about, I don't know, Nine Inch Nails is in town and I'm going later, and where'd you grow up, and all that kind of stuff. And people, like, you build better relationships, which helps you make more work.
Yeah.
So if you have the capacity to come into the studio, do it. If you have the capacity to go into your agent in person and record in their booth, if you have an agency that still has a booth, do it. FaceTime is important. I know everybody has social phobias of various kinds and that they're getting worse, but you're an actor, be an extrovert. Get in the studio.
Act like one. You don't have to be one. Just act like one.
And show off your plumage.
Just act as if. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really important skill that I think in person. It also just kind of makes you stand out too, because so many people would prefer remote these days. So
that's bonkers to me.
Do we have time for me to ask a question?
of course,
I have a question, Cal, because you direct a lot of PCAP work, and you probably see a fair number of PCAP auditions. And I'm curious, as someone who submits, like, what are the things I might be doing, the mistakes I might be making when I'm taping those auditions, when I'm preparing? What am I screwing up that I don't know I'm screwing up? That's the difference between, because I've done quite a bit of PCAP, but the audition process itself still feels intimidating to me for PCAP.
Yeah. I mean, auditioning for PCAP is like auditioning for a television show or a film. You're going to be submitting a video rather than just an audio file, of course. And as with all advice about auditioning, your mileage may vary by casting director. I only know what I like to see.
Right. Right.
It's not always the same, right, from person to person. And you might, over time, learn, like, hey, Cal really likes to hear it when I do an A and a B back to back, and they're very different. But so-and-so hates it when I do an A and a B back to back. They want to see a full pass and a full pass.
Okay.
That stuff happens. So, talking about PCAP in particular, or just on-camera auditions, you don't have to go right down the barrel the whole time
Meaning.
of the camera,
Okay.
right? Like, I don't necessarily want your on-camera audition to be like at attention and I can see your full body the whole time. I want you to take me somewhere. The goal of any audition, VO, on-camera, whatever, is to make the world of your imagination so irresistibly real to you, the actor, that it becomes irresistibly real to the viewer / listener. Take me somewhere, literally anywhere.
Yeah.
There's circulating online a couple of weeks ago was the audition tape from the actor in Severance. I'm trying to think of her name. Goodness. Britt Lower. Or Lauer. I don't know. Either way. Her audition for that role is that scene from the show where she wakes up with no memory of who she is. And you should watch. You Google this, watch it.
Okay.
She doesn't bother to stay on camera the whole time. She just
Wow.
goes somewhere. There's a whole portion of this thing where all you're seeing is like her knees. And it's because she doesn't she frames it initially and then she just gets lost in it.
Wow.
And that's your job, is to get so lost in it that, like, I forget I'm watching an audition. I'm just in the room with
Oh,
you,
I love
in the
that.
mind's eye. So you want to make choices that serve that.
Okay, this distinction is really important. I think we spend a lot of time as actors, and I think I can speak for a lot of us, serving what we think is the right thing to do instead of our creativity.
No right
So
thing.
you're saying serve our creativity first, highest, and
Yep.
most.
There's no right thing. Right is an illusion.
Right.
Even trying to hit, like, what the casting director thinks they want, which you
Yeah.
could conceivably say is the right thing, is almost impossible. It's like shooting an arrow down a hallway around a corner and hitting a bullseye. It can really only be done by accident from ricochets, right? Like, you can't. It's just not. You abandon it. That's not worth your time. Now, look, that doesn't mean you shouldn't close read the material and try and apprehend stuff about tone and intention from the writer or the director or the casting
Yeah.
director. That's still useful, but it's secondary to committing fully to a transporting and truthful performance.
This is so freeing. It's so
Yeah.
bloody freeing. Now here I am again going back to see, thinking like, no, but how did he want it? You said something about you like the A's and B's together. I've never
On a
done
voiceover audition,
that.
for interactive, frequently you won't have a scene. You won't have like a screenplay format scene.
Yeah.
You'll have like six single lines of dialogue that are
On
not
an
connected
Excel
to each
sheet.
other.
Yes.
And people often will do like a full pass on those and then another full pass. That's less useful to me than if you give me an A and a B or an ABC right next to each other, because that's how we're going to do it on the day. If I'm like, hey, let's dive in here, give me an A and a B, I don't want the same thing twice.
Yeah.
The only thing you should never do in an audition is show me the same thing twice. That's a waste of your time and mine. I'll throw that
Yeah.
right out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, if it's like a couple of lines and one of them is like,
The house is on fire.
I think they could be coming any day now,
Yeah.
right? Then
Yeah.
give me one where you're loading crates, and then give me one where you're hiding for your life,
Yeah.
right back to back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they could be coming any day now. I think they could be coming any day now.
Yes. Oh, God.
Just demonstrate range. Right
Delicious.
is an illusion. Just show me that you can act. Because look, even if the actual thing it's going to be on the day is nowhere close to any of those, if you show me that kind of range, I'm like, well, like, okay, there's no way for you to know what it's supposed to be, but clearly you can go wherever. So if I cast this person, then on the day I'm going to be able to say, hey, you're being chased by a giant chicken or whatever it is, and you'll just go there, right? That's your job, is to just kind of go there in the imagination. And in your audition, you want to demonstrate your ability to commit fully to whatever imaginary scenario. So in those ones with the unconnected lines, give me an A and a B or an ABC, and on to the next A and a B and an ABC. And on your own, you can be doing it. You could record 50 of one line and pick your favorite two. I don't care. I just want to hear, like, I'm capable of this, and I'm capable of this, and I'm capable of making strong choices. Strong but wrong is better than right but shite.
See, this is auditioning is like test driving a car versus what you do when you own a car. Like, I will test drive a car and I'll just floor the dang thing if there's nobody around, and I'll slam on the brakes to see how it performs, make sure it'll take care of me. But I'm not doing that in my day-to-day, well, mostly not doing that in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show off
Okay.
and have fun. The person you want to hire a person whose work is joyful. That doesn't mean the character is joyful. We might be making Sophie's choice. The character might be in horrible misery, but like still, Jennifer's process.
Yeah.
It can be laid. The actor's process can be laden with obvious zest for the pursuit. And so she want to show off what you can do.
Jesus.
Look, if you hit a line where you're like, they didn't say what this is, I'm just going to rush through it. No, stop. Everybody's had this experience. You have a monologue, and you know what to do with this part, and you know what to do with this part. You don't know what they want you to do in the middle, so you do this part, you rush through this part, and then you do this part. Wrong. Stop. That feeling, it's a horrible feeling. To be like, I don't know what's going on.
It's like hydroplaning.
That is actually your best friend. It's your actor's radar pinging. And what it's saying is, make some shit up. If you feel that feeling, it's because somebody upstream of you did not do their job. The writer or the casting director or the director or somebody didn't give you sufficient information to complete this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would know what to do. So what that is an embossed invitation to make some shit up. And if it doesn't say it's specifically not this, it can be anything. If it doesn't say you're not being chased by wolves, give me one where you're chased by wolves. You're just trying to show that you are an actor and that you know how to act and that you can make interesting choices, right?
This is the kind of advice that literally I feel weak in my entire body, and I wish I could go back and do my entire career over because it's so freeing and so fills me with so much energy and excitement, and creativity just starts to flow, and I'm like, I just want to start over now.
And look, write this stuff down and put it on sticky notes in your booth.
Yeah.
Because people auditions, they come last minute. They're due tomorrow.
Yeah.
The cat just threw up and you got to knock out 9 of these things, right? You have to hurry. You're picking your kid up from school, whatever, right? The audition process is aggressively contrary to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So make some little reminders for yourself that you're there to act. You're there to do the thing you like best in the world.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would do a different job, right? It's a hard job.
Yeah.
Acting's hard,
Yeah.
right? So if you didn't love it, you'd do something else, right? So just remind yourself that you're there to do the thing you love most. Make choices that are compelling to you. If their choices are compelling to you when you listen back, they will be compelling to the listener. And if it's like, it's not clear what this is, it really could be anything. Great, pick something that works for you. Say, man, I've always wanted to play a role like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, where I'm like a corrupt general who's on the edge of losing it. Does it say it's not that? Great, then show me that. Even when it does say it's like this, sure, send me one that way. But if you're going to send a second take, send me something else. Send me something weird. I don't know if this guy is kind of not a great dude, but like there's a movie called Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where the romantic rival of the main character is played by Russell Brand, and the role that he plays was originally going to be played by Clive Owen.
Oh.
And it was going to be a button-down Oxford financial wizard. He was going to be like James Bond, like good, nice ties and fine wines. And then Clive Owen dropped out because of conflict. And so they sent these sides to, I guess, every English actor, because I can't think of 2 actors less alike than Russell Brand and Clive
Yeah.
And look, Russell Brand, pervert though he may turn out to be, did not screw around trying to be like Clive Owen.
No.
He just did the thing he does really well, which is be a kind of a dissolute rock star poet pervert. And
True to brand.
And they saw it, and they rewrote the whole script around that performance because it was so fun and funny.
Yeah.
Writers, directors, casting directors don't necessarily know exactly what they want.
Yeah.
They only know what they think they want, and you should be open to the idea of showing them something they didn't know that they wanted. Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a character in there named Charles, who's played by Noshir Dalal, who is a lovely, gifted actor.
Love Noshir.
He's amazing.
And they had tried like 7 rounds of casting on that character before they went to Noshir, and it just wasn't working with like 7 or 8 different actors they tried. And on the page, at the time, the character was written like 6'7" killing machine, lives only for vengeance. And violent and Nosh, when he got the sides, they were like, I don't know, throw it to. He does a lot of PCAP. Let's see what he does, right? Because he wasn't first thought for that character. Didn't bother with those exclamation points. Didn't fuck around trying to be a killing machine. He did what he does really, really well, which is compressed energy, potential for violence, like somebody who could be very lethal, squeezed down to a very tightly coiled spring, and gave them that. And of course was cast and gave her this iconic performance, and they rewrote the game in part around that role. Charles went from being this sort of machete swinging psycho to being the moral center of the gang. Right? And that's just because an actor made a choice that worked well for them.
That calls out punctuation. People get imprisoned by punctuation in science.
Yeah. Christopher Walken evidently retypes everything without punctuation. For whatever it's worth. Look, the writing's a suggestion. Your goal is to get in the moment and be truthful.
Right.
So change stuff. Inhalations, exhalations, hesitations, false starts, improvisations, and flourishes, all the dirty, junky human speech. We will miss that if it isn't there. People, when they speak in life, do not speak cleanly.
No.
They're fragmentary, and they hesitate and they think. There's cognition and junk, garbage. And one of the things that makes bad acting sound like bad acting is the absence of garbage. The human ear is an evolved lie detector.
Yeah.
Right? Because in your ancestors, they're going back to time immemorial, the sound of deception was the sound of danger. And so the people that survived learned to be able to spot deception. That's why even an 8-year-old in Poughkeepsie who's never heard of Meisner can detect bad acting, right? It's because it's the absence of the stuff of natural speech. You're hearing the missing garbage, unless there's a reason that the character is being very, they might be playing Hillary Clinton making a speech, in which case it's going to be very clean, right? But if it's just off the cuff dialogue, frequently it's going to be dirtied up with things that happen in the moment, and that's why it's good to do all your prep, then throw it all out and dive into your imagination and let stuff happen. Dawes Butler, I think, is the guy who talked about the take that falls downstairs and lands on its feet. That's a good thing to look for. Just let it tumble. Don't judge it. Just be in the moment and let it get weird. We can always the easiest piece of direction I can give is that's great. Let's clean it up a little.
Yeah.
But not if we don't know we can be loose in the first place.
Yeah.
I have to beat it.
Yes.
Studio.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah, this has been amazing.
I could yak about this stuff for hours and hours and
Listen to
hours
you
more.
all
Is
day.
there one more question anybody you want to do, and then I'll boogie?
Yeah, sure. Last question is, where can everybody find you? Like socials, website.
I
whatever you
deleted
wanna
all my
plug.
social media.
Smart.
After Elon Siegheiled, I was like, fuck Twitter. And then like 12 hours later, I was like, or all of it? And deleted Facebook and Instagram as well. I have literally, it's not just that I deleted the apps, I purged the accounts. They no longer exist. You can find me in the real world. Where since I did that, I have read 40 books, 70 comic books, and have done a third of the Duolingo Spanish course. Get off social media. Your life will be so much better. Look, actors have to have some, right? You have to have a brand. I understand that. You can't, I'm privileged to be able to just go, fuck this. But literally, if you only engage with it to be like, here's something cool I'm working on.
Yeah.
I sure do love this movie I saw, and that's it. and you
Yeah.
limit your use beyond that,
Yeah.
you're going to feel so good.
Yeah.
I've never felt
true.
better.
It's true. You can find him in a coffee shop. This man
Find me a
likes
coffee.
good
Find me at Romancing the Bean in Burbank
Usually
on the
double
weekends, where I'm
fisted
often writing and drinking 2 coffees at once.
Oh, Cal, thank
All
you
right,
so
Kel,
much.
thank you so much. We're going to let you go. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to
Yeah.
stay tuned for who we're going to have as our next guest. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.